Hi Rob, thought I'd give you another update. I know you've been waiting patiently for one. The bad weather we had with 10 inches of snow here and ice and slush and everything kind of put a damper on things, as well as a damper on my ability to do my actual day job, so I've been playing catch up there. But I wanted to give you an update. So what we've got here is the lid to the body. It's a little bit larger diameter than the body according to the screen images. There's a 1-inch gap here, so there's a ring of plywood creating that, and there's it's a 1/4-inch base of 1/4-inch plywood, and we have 2 layers of rigid insulation, so those are 2 inches thick, and then there's the concrete form tube in the center for the neck hole, and there's actually 2 layers here. There's the part you see and a part you don't see, creating a shoulder for this material. And I've got some PVC trim ripped down to 1x1s, and those are to make ribs every 60 degrees to support this material, and then there's a channel routed into the edge of this foam to support this outer edge of that material, and this is the 3mm PVC sheet called Sintra, and that's glued and nailed with tiny brads that you can't see, that holds it until the glue dries. And so it's a very lightweight structure. So I can pick up the lid with one hand. I can actually pick up the whole thing with one hand. It's actually still quite light. And so that's where we are now. So this should be ready for paint by the weekend. After I finish creating the curve edge here. And so a little bit about that. So, I've got a flat surface here, a slant here, and so I use a little straight edge and check my work, and then I'm carving this down to match this slope with a fancy insulation knife, and then sanding and touching things up with a random orbit sander to create the curve. And then it'll get some overlays and some details, and then they'll all be primed and painted to match the body, which when I change to the dark gray primer, it looks really nice. It gets kind of buffed on the edges and creates highlights. It looks really good. And so that's what we're doing. This is the image I'm scaling things off of. I created a scale image with lots of dimensions on it, and that's what I'm using to figure out the height and width for all these parts. And the real challenge is figuring out how to make it look like that with what we have and what I can do. And so it's kind of a design as I go project, and so that's why it kind of takes a while to figure out what we're doing, because I only have certain facilities, like I don't have a 3D printer yet, and I didn't do a fiberglass overlay of this like we originally planned, just for time and expense, and so maybe we'll do that in the future. But I've got a friend working on the electronics. It's going to have movement and sound, and another friend is going to put a camera in one of the eyes, so we'll be able to project images of the droid's point of view to a screen at the entrance to the room. And here's a ring gear for the head to turn on, and that'll be mounted down in here. And the head will be on another cardboard tube, and this is about the size of the head, but it'll be hollow and of course taller. And that'll get sculpted this weekend. And then after that, all I've got to do is create the legs, which will be 3/4 and 1/2-inch plywood layered up, and lots of details. And it'll stand on 3 legs and have 2 legs that can move. And yeah, that's it. So wish me luck, and thanks for your support. And if anyone wants to support the project, you can email me, and we're at about close to $200 of the $800 or so that we budgeted for this, so definitely use the support. And thanks again.